Welcome to a very special episode of Ask Cindy Connector Live. Hello, Cindy Lee here, and I am on a bit of a hiatus because of my book, but as I meet amazing people and amazing guests that I want to connect you to my sphere of influence. So a little bit about Ask Cindy Connector Live. I've been in business for over 35 years, and I love connecting people. And about 15 years ago, one of my friends said, why don't you have a brand that's called Ask Cindy Connector? And then when all this social media and live video came, now I started this podcast where I'm interviewing you and I'm connecting you to other people. If you are an audience member, I will connect you to a few people as well that I have on my podcast. So we are celebrating National Black History Month. It is Skip the Straw Day, also Dog Biscuit Day, and Tile Day. And for the weekend, tomorrow is Tortilla Chip Day. February 25th on Sunday, Chocolate Covered Nut Day, and clam chowder. If you want a good clam chowder, head down to Dana Point at John's Fish Market. So let's talk about your business. I'm actually going to pop out for a minute so I can share the broadcast and talk all about you and how you celebrate National Black History Month.
Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. I'm Loretta MCNary, and I haven't gotten asked that question in a long time because, and I'm like, well, I'm Black, so my whole life is Black History Month. Everything I do is Black history because I'm Black. So I do it 365 days a year. I've been doing it since I've been on this earth. But in terms of narrowing it down, I am just watching what other people are saying. I still learn about Black history instead of just assuming that it was only Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., there are so many. I mean, we could not have enough showtime to talk about the accomplishments and things that Black people, African Americans did in this country to make this country. We would just run out of time. But I encourage people to check it out because there are tons of Wikipedia pages on Google. If you say inventions by African Americans or people of color or Black people, it is an extensive list. So usually people think Black history, they're thinking civil rights, national civil rights, but it is so much more deeper than that. And or they think entertainment, right? We know about all the amazing, legendary people of color, Black people who have done extraordinary things in this world, up against all of the atrocities that were being done to people of color, to African Americans, to Black people. And it's crazy. It's crazy to read about that. But they had this tenacity, this can do. I'm an overcomer. I will not let this oppression define my totality. And if I don't do it for myself, I have to do it for my family. So that is where I am today because of the strong people of color who were not necessarily defined by their skin color or that they were enslaved or beat down. But I like to concentrate to honor that. It did happen and it was a thing, but look at all the accomplishments that they made happen, right? Under all that oppression and that struggle. So, and the injustice and unfairness, but here we are today, still celebrating Black history. And they said 28 days. No, it's 365 days a year.
Yeah, and it's all about celebrating every day and celebrating others. That's why I created this podcast, to not have about me, have it to be about you or any of my guests that I come on. So let's talk about your show, how it got started, and how you're a global media host.
Yeah, so it started late August, early September 2006. I actually, and this is so leery and weird, but it happened. I had a vision. I left corporate America, took a job at a Christian college, and a huge, when I say huge salary cut to do this. But within 2 to 3 weeks of the job, I had a vision of me hosting my own TV talk show in front of a live studio audience. Now, backstory, I was already hosting for Time Warner Comcast, their public access
Wow.
station called On Cable Tonight. I did that show 4 years, and then I got my show. So I was hosting 2 shows at one time. I was doing On Cable Tonight and the Loretta MCNary Show. And I was also a stand-in host for TBN, Joy in Our Town. And so I like how you went and found those pictures. So that is one of my favorite spoken word artists, Nick Nova. He is spectacular when it comes to writing and reciting and performing spoken word. It has gotten me back into poetry. I love Nick Nova.
Awesome.
He travels the country doing gigs. You can follow him on all social media. And then, so in 2006, I actually launched the show. I had the vision late August, early September 2006, December 3rd, Cindy, I was inside the studio at this college where I was working in the auditorium. About 100 people were there. Steinmark did my clothes. I did 3 shows that night with broadcast cameras and camera guys. And here we are today, available in 35 states, 41 markets, in about 17 years. So no overnight success. And that's a birthday show. You see my brothers, I call them my brothers, Charles and, I just saw him at a networking event too. They are doing extraordinary things too with child trafficking. And they're both leaders in the spiritual, they're pastors. They're pastors and amazing humans. So, and I'll make sure the show is diverse. And it was intentional diversity way before diversity, equity, inclusion was a thing on the radar. This was in 2006 that I started doing this, making sure that was a thing. And it started with celebrity interviews. Just traveling the country, doing red carpet events, interviewing celebrities. And I love extraordinary people, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So I make sure I infuse the celebrity interviews with that. And I love what I'm doing. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I was put in this earth realm to do this. Now, is it difficult? Yes. Is it overwhelming sometimes? Yes. Have I wanted to quit? Countless times. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, that's the thing. It's just like, why quit? Because you'll never know what was going to happen, right? Like when I started my travel business, I was the original bucket list coach, and I decided I didn't want bucketlistcoach.com anymore. And that was a mistake because now somebody else has it and all that. But so now I'll probably do a website, the OG Bucket List Coach. And so when you believe in something, do not give up, because do what you love what you do. It is so, so important. When I started my agency in 2018, I had 2 travel agents. Now to date, I have over 50.
Wow.
And it's because I never gave up. And there was a lot of people that said, I don't like Bucket List Coach. I hate that name. I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to go. I'm going to go with my heart. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad that I never gave up, because all these years later, I definitely hit that ladder of success. So don't listen to the naysayers. When you believe in something, just go for it. And even on those bad days, because we're going to have good days and we're going to have bad days. What you do is
that's a guarantee.
Go off and start over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that when it's what you're put in this earth realm to accomplish, that you can't give up. No matter how you feel or how it looks, it will keep you going. And I'm telling you, I literally believe that, because I broke my leg March 5th, 2023. And it was life-changing in like the worst way. It started out that way. And then it became something that fueled me and something that I can say really kept me going, because it was a tough period. I couldn't walk. My sons had to take care of me and take me. And I mean, it was crazy. So I know what it was. This is what I tell people. I should probably coin it and put it on t-shirts, but I always say, don't quit on your dreams, because your dreams will not quit on you. And they will not. They are so loyal to you. They are specifically just for you, and you cannot quit. You can back off and not do it every day, right? But there's no way it would let you quit. It just won't.
Yes. And it's also the people that we are surround ourselves. If we surrounding ourselves with negative people, you want to surround yourself with people who have more than you, because then you're going to become
Yes.
that. You're going to train your
Yes.
mind to become that.
Yeah. I always think of it saying there are three kinds of people that I want to spend time with, and that those who have less than me so that I can give back and pour into, and
Mhm.
those who are like me, they have goals and they're transparent and they believe, they believe in God and they're on their way, right? They keep on doing the steps. And then those who are smarter than me, have more wealth than I do, have more wisdom than I do, and who are so tenacious and bold and courageous. That is important too. Because if I'm just in a room and I'm the smartest person, or I'm the most successful person, or it serves no purpose. I mean, other than once or twice a year, maybe just to say, rah, rah, look at Loretta or whatever. But I really need to be where I'm pouring into others, I'm being poured into, and then I'm just like, oh, I get to talk to these people at that level, and I get to watch them and learn from them.
And I'm actually going to be on a podcast on Monday, and we're talking about childhood trauma. So a lot of the things we learned as a child, we're learning from our parents. And if it was something, let's say we're 15 years old and we realize that's not really something I want. For instance, my father was prejudiced. I decided I didn't want to be that. So I became my own person. When I was 18, 20 years old, I became my own person. So our past does not dictate our future, and you want to make your mess your message. So kind of talk about
Mhm.
how you feel about that, because that's mentioned in my book.
Yeah. Your purpose is birthed out of your pain. You can tell where you're supposed to be cheerleading in an area if it caused you pain, if it
Mm-hmm.
was so traumatic for you. But what happens normally, and in a lot of people, and I forgot the statistics on this, we let that stop us instead of propel us to do more and to make a huge difference in this world. But actually, our pain defines it doesn't give us purpose, but it definitely reveals our purpose. So, and you can get distracted and by things that happen to you as a child. And there is a process that I've been doing with this whole the fall episode of my life. I have had to release trauma from my life. And most women, we carry it in our bellies, and we also
Mm-hmm.
carry it in our pelvic area. So if you ever notice you're really tight in your pelvic area, like you couldn't do a squat, you can't do a split, for heaven's sake, you couldn't even do that. But you can't even do minimal yoga moves because of all that trauma that we store right in our pelvic area and in our stomachs. So you really have to do the work and release that trauma from that area, and tell your pelvic, you don't have to carry it anymore. For me, I'm Christian, so I lay that burden down at God's feet, at Jesus' feet. And I tell my stomach, you can go back to being normal and just do your job of being a digestive system and not a carrier of my trauma, because I release you now. I've laid that down. I dealt with it. I saw it. I lived it again. It was very painful, Cindy. It was so painful, but it liberated me. I have a total different level of confidence now and love for myself, and which makes it more easy to love other people where they are too. Although I did it, but it was like going through the motion because I knew it was the right thing to do. But now I am authentically and on purpose and intentional loving people where they are, and then getting them to move forward, though, because I had to go through that process to let my trauma go. So I'm not defined by that anymore.
Yes, yes, I totally understand that. So let's talk about the power of smile. So what do you like to do to make people smile? Do you like open the door? Do you compliment someone when you're out and about? Because when I go to Costco, I tell myself I'm going to compliment 50 people that walk by me, or 20 people, whatever I decide. And sometimes they say hi, sometimes they respond, other times they don't. Kind of talk about how important that is to put love and kindness when you're out there in the community.
Well, I'm just a natural person who smiles. And I had no idea it was just me, but I'm telling you, going through the fall, and there's a
Mhm.
whole book and probably hopefully a movie, but it gave me time to really think and reflect and to look at my life from an internal perspective. And I'm always smiling. People have said things about my smile all my life, and I thought it was a bad way, right? They're like, your smile is so big. And I never really liked my smile until the last few years. And so I'm always smiling. And then it's more so with my eyes, because I am genuinely interested and care for people. I will take on somebody's burden and their problems so fast. And so and smile is just automatic for me. And this last guest I had, she is super successful. She has a company called Edge Entity, and she discovered it out of her pain. She had a lot of hair loss because she was stressing. She's a nurse, and she was able to hear God's voice telling her what to do to create this product. And she says, Loretta, I feel like I can tell you anything. Your smile just draws me in. It literally is like the light. And this lady was telling me that. I mean, every day somebody's telling me about my smile and the light. And so I give that so freely. I give it so freely. And some people take it the wrong, like especially guys, because I guess women are just, a lot of the women that they've seen have not wanted to smile. And so when you're smiling, they think it's more flirtatious, but that's just who I am. I'm not flirting with you, guy. I'm really not. I don't want your number. I don't want you to have mine. I just am a happy person. And I know when I'm out, I'm spiritually called to be the light. And that's who I am to everybody, no matter if it's somebody who is homeless or somebody who sits in a C-suite or drives a electric Rolls Royce, right? I'm just going to be Loretta. I'm going to be nice and respectable and to you. But when you mess up with me, Cindy, ooh, honey, you messed up.
You don't have to worry about that with me. Yeah, because a lot of times I will compliment a gentleman in a suit, and he'll go, "Yeah, you look good too, like that dress." I'm like, "Well, it's just complimenting you." Yeah, because compliments are so important when we're out in the community, because we don't know what that person
genuine compliments. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's always something we can compliment somebody on.
Yeah. So we're reaching the end of the show. So next thing I want to talk about is your call to action. Who would you like to meet today? I actually have Mary West with the Mary West Network. She's on, and I'm going to be introducing to you two a little bit later on introduction. So tell Mary a little bit about you and what the best referral is for your show.
Okay, so how any show on television works is different from online shows, being a TikTok celebrity and all that. Well, I guess they do still have to have sponsors and advertisers. So for me, it would be someone who can make that decision to say, hey, I want to sponsor the Loretta MCNary Show. I want my name, my business name, my brand, my message to go all the places where Loretta MCNary goes, because she's going places and I see value in that. And I want to go with her. I want her to share my messages. She's an amazing storyteller. So I need those people who see the value in having their stories aligned with my brand, which is a national brand and a happy brand, an energetic brand, a brand that people are, they fall in love with. And I want that for all the brands. And I'm not going to partner with just any brand, right? I've built this up. It took me a while to get here, but I can help businesses to get there if that's what they want. And also I'm a speaker. So if they need a keynote, if they need a trainer, all of that, then I'm here for that, especially women. I also host a monthly networking event every month. And now we're going on the road. It's called Women on the Move Reimagined. Wow. It's mastermind meets networking meets professional development meets personal development, all in one over lunch.
So let's talk about some shout outs. Who would you like to shout out today?
Oh, shout out. Of course, my boys. What people don't know, and it's hard still for them to believe is I'm the mother of 5 sons, 5 super amazing, handsome, gifted sons who are givers too. And a couple of them to a huge sacrifice they'll make for anybody. And I said, they get that from me, but you have to know when. You have to know when. So I shout out my sons. I shout out some of my advertisers, Shot RX. I shout out South Haven Chamber. I'm a people magnet, Cindy, and I'm a connector like you. So I would take up your entire show for the next 1,200 days, shouting out people that I know and respect. So I'll start with my family, with God, with my mom, my special friend JDR, and a lot of my best friends. I'll start. And the women on the move, the ladies who show up for themselves with me and trust me to move them forward.
Well, I
Or
want to
you,
shout
Cindy
out.
Lee.
Oh, I want to shout out to you because you were so amazing at sharing my National Bucket List Day. I want to shout out to Mary West with the Mary West Network. And of course, I'm an ambassador with National Day Calendar. So I want to shout out to all my family there at the National Day Calendar brand. So let's kind of close out with Bucket List Day. What got you excited about it last year? Like what attracted you to my day?
Okay, so I want everybody to know how Cindy and I officially met last year. So I I have two shows, one a morning show and one an evening show. And the morning show was birthed because there's a satellite media tour that these big PR companies get their clients on. So one of those big PR companies in New York pitched to me, one of their superstar celebrities was talking about National Bucket Day. It wasn't you, Cindy. I'm surprised it wasn't you, but it was a celebrity. And so we talked about it, and I was like, wow, that's a day? A National Bucket Day? Yay. And yeah, Cindy is an amazing connector. Glad to be another great connector. And so I was so intrigued with it, and you saw it some kind of way. I got on your radar. You was like, hey, I'm the creator of a national bucket. I'm like, so one person can create a national day? How cool is that? And so ever since I met you last year, we talked about you being on my show, me being on your show, and here we are. The stars aligned.
Wow, that is so important, is to surround ourselves with those who celebrate us, not tolerate us. How do you feel about that?
Oh my goodness. A quick, long story, because I know we have to go. I have a godmother who lives about 89 miles from me. I was at her house, and she is a seer. She's spiritual. She's aware. And she says, Loretta, I'm going to need to tell you something. She says, I need you to stop going where you're just tolerated and go where you're celebrated.
Yeah.
I broke down in tears. It was a release, again, another example of releasing trauma. I had never thought about it like that. And for her just out of the blue to say it. And so it is a real thing. It is a real thing. Stop spending your time trying to get people to like you, number one. Number two, trying to please those people. And number three, go where people genuinely are celebrating you, not in a right wing kind of person. I'm your right. You know how you go, they just gonna tell you all the good stuff, but just someone who genuinely celebrates you. That's huge because our souls need that alignment where we're being fed. So stop being tolerated, trying to be celebrated. And then first of all, celebrate yourself. That's even more important, is to celebrate who you are, flaws and all. Celebrate your entire self.
And with that said, what I like to do every single day is I call or text 5 people and let them know I'm grateful. I had a couple losses in the last week, and a lot of people will talk more about celebration when they lose somebody, but it's so important to do it every single day. Have you actually just picked up the phone and said I'm grateful without an agenda? And when I first started doing that about 10 years ago, they're like, why would you call me just to say that? I said, because we're here today, gone tomorrow. And I want that to be the last thing that I told you. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a perfect example of giving people their flowers while they live. So what I don't necessarily say I'm grateful, but I tell them I love them. Just out the blue, I will just text people. And sometimes there's a whole ton of people in my phone, or sometimes it's on a DM, just saying, hey, you know what? I just wanted to say I love you. I'm thinking about you and I'm praying for you. And it's just who I am, just randomly.
And that's called a DMO. It's a daily method of operation. What other DMOs do you practice daily?
Of course, prayer and meditation, being grateful. And I do prayer and meditation all day long to center me, to keep me focused and positive. Because once you have a negative message, it takes you so long to get that negative message out. You say, oh, I'm not going to think all night. But honey, it's stored within your DNA and to your cells. And so it takes so much positivity to overcome that negative. So you're always catching up. So I'm making sure that not only am I speaking life to other people, but I am definitely speaking life to Loretta, to my dreams, my visions, my yesteryears, to my tomorrows. I'm coming in peace. And I'll tell myself, I come in peace. I come in peace today, Loretta. I love you today, Loretta. It took me decades and decades to get to this point. No matter how many people tell you how pretty you are, how if you're not telling yourself your soul is not fully fed, until it comes from within to within.
Yeah, I've gained weight over the last few years, but I still get those double F's up there in a bikini. I'm
Girl,
59 years old this year,
see?
the end of July, and be comfortable in your skin. I love that. And there's a lot of people, especially since I started to write my book, that are really down on me, and those types of people just aren't in my life anymore, because you need to have people.
It's not about you.
Celebrating you.
So Cindy, when people are down on you and they're negative Nancy and all that stuff, it's about them. Like, let's say you're driving down the highway and you get over, you're signaling, you have a lot of space between that car. But if that person is in a place internally where they're miserable, they're going to blink their lights at you, they're going to flick you or whatever. So it's never about you. It's about the person that's giving that negative energy. So don't take it. You can send it back. And even with trauma and headaches and pain, send it back to the sender. Just tell you have to, I hear you, I feel you. Hey, but we sending you back. That's not mine. I don't need this pain. I'm sending it back to the sender. Because there are some people who wish you wrong. They don't wish you well. They wish you wrong. So you have to say, I send that back to the sender. I send it back to the sender. I send that back to the sender.
Yeah, like I have a lot of times someone they'll snake my parking space, right? And I just let them take it, and I'll see them in the store. Hi, how are you? Greet them, have a conversation. And I don't even get upset if someone takes my space, because it's not even worth it. Go ahead and take
That's just wasted energy.
You wanted it quicker than I did.
It's wasted energy when we do that.
Exactly.
I won't call names, but if you ride with them the whole time, they just are talking about how somebody's driving. They're worried about it. I said, you can only drive one car, baby. You can only drive one car at a time. Yeah. Let it go. Let it go. I'm not like that. You can drive in whatever lane you want to. I'm just going to go around you, and I'm not going to speed up. I'm just going to get out of your way, because I want to live another day, right? But I just am picking my battles now. It's so super important and intentional. I pick my battles. I'm not going to fight that fight. I don't even care about the fight, the war. I just want to make sure I'm okay and that my family's okay. But I'm not going to fight with somebody who I don't even know. I don't even know where its energy is coming from. Send it back to the sender.
Exactly. And that's really amazing that you are talking about that, because I recently have dealt with that. And the person messaged me, and I didn't even message back. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved in that negativity. Yeah, I felt really bad, and then I meditated about it and I was better. But I mean, we're going to deal with that on a daily basis. But it's the more you surround yourself with the good people. I mean, the bad people just seem to come in our space when we're good people, and we're doing great things. But
I learned that lesson the hard way, because the more you're out there, the more negativity you're going to have, Cindy. So when people are coming to you and say somebody doesn't like you, or somebody said this about you, or somebody actually said it to you, you got two choices. You can believe that and internalize it, or you can say, you know what, I don't have to respond to that, because the higher you go and the more people know your name, Cindy, the more you're going to have. And the Lord asked me, he says, do you think you can respond to everybody? Are you just going to fight everybody every time? Then you're not ready for where I'm taking you. I'm like, oh, so immediately I stopped it. I stopped trying to fight those battles. I cannot fight them all, and I will not fight them all. I don't even care about it anymore, because that means I'm doing my job. Be sick of Loretta MCNary. I want you sick of me and my positivity and my happiness and my smiling all the time. I want you sick of me. I want you staying up at night like that girl gets on my nerve, because that means I'm authentic. I am serving my purpose in this earth realm. I'm doing Loretta, and it gets on your nerve. Well, honey, do some internal work like I did, and I shouldn't even be on your radar. I should not be on your radar like that.
No, and that's like, and it's okay to remove friends, business partners, and family if they're not serving you in a positive mindset, abundance, and all that. Closing out, we'll talk about how we could keep that abundance going no matter what happens. How would you suggest we do that? Just surround yourself with the right people, for one.
Well, if you're taking your old toxic self into a new group of happiness, and you still going back home the same toxic person, it did no good. You have got to do the inner work. You got to do that release. You got to release all of that trauma, all that negativity. So when you're showing up, it doesn't matter to you. You create this whether this what is it, water-free zone, like mascara is not going to run because you put water on. So you should have that too, but that comes from doing the work and knowing who you are and being celebrated and not just tolerated. So you get like have this zone free where there's no negativity cannot get into that barrier because you build it up, you did the work. So don't just be fearless, just fearless. Don't spend all your time fearing. And you don't have to say I'm fearless, just fear less. Are we frozen? Are you frozen, Susan? Cindy, I can't hear you. Hmm. Okay, so she went away. So I just want to thank everybody so much for watching. Cindy Lee, she's a super amazing woman, human person doing incredible things, not just selfishly, but for the world to be a better place because she was in it. So make sure you support her. Make sure you support Cindy. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
So we have some internet issues here. We'll wait for her to come back on. So we're going to close out the show today. Make sure you follow Loretta. You can see here in the show notes, and we'll see you just around the other side.